American, you still trying to adapt to this to our environment. You still trying to build yourself. So why the fuck?
My son. Keyshawn, my son.
Andy Cruz, I don't gotta fight you.
So apparently, promoter Eddie Hearn sees no other options for Keyshawn, the businessman Davis, other than his former nemesis and Andy Cruz. Eddie Hearn sees no other option for Keyshawn Davis other than his former nemesis, Andy Cruz. It's your boy, Mr. 926, a.k.a. Bushido the Dragon, a.k.a. the Black Mage, a.k.a. I could just do this all day. The two-time demonetized champion of the world.
I need y'all to get the likes up, man. Get the likes up. Smash the like button.
That you fought to win your gold medal. He's fighting for his first world title. Keyshawn Davis against Dennis Berinchik. What's your thoughts on that fight? And will you be watching?
No, creo que mi hijo ha progresado mucho.
He said, I think my son is going to progress a lot. He's going to do well.
Y deseo que gane su cinturón, a ver si se lo puedo quitar por quinta vez.
He said he hopes that he does get a strap because then he wants to take it from him this time.
Will you be watching that fight?
¿Tú vas a ver esa pelea?
Sí, claro.
Yeah, he's going to watch that fight.
Como un padre no va a ver a su hijo.
He said, how you not going to watch your son fight?
Get out, man. Keyshawn, the businessman Davis, after becoming WBO world champion. Now, Keyshawn Davis, some may say, who's next for Keyshawn Davis? Pitbull Cruz? Well, Pitbull Cruz likes to pick and choose. I don't see that fight happening anytime soon. But Eddie Hearn, promoter Eddie Hearn, says he sees no other options for Keyshawn Davis other than Andy Cruz. Now, to me, it seems a little too early for that type of fight. And 5-0 doesn't show what Andy Cruz is really about. Andy Cruz is regarded as one of the best amateurs of all time. He beat Keyshawn Davis several times in the Olympics, right? In the amateurs, in the Olympics, he beat Keyshawn Davis to go off and get gold. Keyshawn ended up coming second place, right? But is it too early for Andy Cruz to face Keyshawn Davis? Because when we watching both of these guys as professionals, Keyshawn's style seems to be more suited for the professional rank as other versus his nemesis, Andy Cruz, who has still somewhat of an amateur style, right? He's trying to put things together with Bozianis and everything else, right? To develop more of a pro style, to sit down on his punches more, to throw with more power, to throw with more authority. But I seen an article from Boxing News 24, and we haven't read none of these articles in a while, but it says Keyshawn captured the WBO 135-pound belt last month, knocking out champion Dennis Berinchik in the fourth round on February 14th at the Madison Square Garden in New York. Although Davis has talked about how being the new WBO champion will change his life in terms of big fights falling to his lap, like Isaac Pitbull Cruz, it's not happened. Yeah, and of course, that fight ain't gonna happen like I told you guys earlier. Pitbull Cruz, he likes to pick and choose. He's waiting for nobody but other than Gervonta Tank Davis. Then it says, unless Top Rank can come up with a big enough offer to lure Pitbull, there's no one popular enough for an interesting fight for Keyshawn. Maybe he doesn't care. He's never fought anyone popular since he turned pro and has spent much of the time talking about what life will be like when he beats Gervonta Davis one of these days. He's always dreaming. See, this is why I wanted to read this article, because these guys, they be talking shit, right? They be kind of talking shit, low-key taking shots at fighters, and they show a little bias, but I get a kick out of it nonetheless. Then he says, Keyshawn doesn't want to build himself to a fight against Tank by facing the top-rung talents. He just wants the fight given to him on a silver platter based on his wins over lower-level fighters. Wow. So this guy says that Keyshawn don't want to do nothing but fight easy fights, bro. This is what this guy's saying. He says the most realistic fight for Keyshawn is Andy Cruz, his 4-time conqueror. You see the word? Conqueror. You know what I'm saying? Like these guys, bro. It's hilarious. I'm going to continue. But he's going to have to show some courage because he's wanted no part of fighting the talented Cuban since he turned pro in 2023. I'm sorry, you guys. I can't stop laughing at reading this. This is my first time reading it. It says, Cruz has been calling him out from day one with no luck. And there's no way of looking at Keyshawn's reluctance than flat out fear. Wow. He got whipped 4 times in the amateurs by Cruz, and he realizes that he'll never beat him, no matter how big he gets. Keyshawn looks like he'll be a middleweight soon, as he's huge after he rehydrates for his fights. After his last fight against the After his last fight against the tiny, that's the word he used, tiny, 36-year-old Baranchyk, he resembled a junior middleweight on the night of the fight. Poor Baranchyk never stood a chance with a guy that big. It's too bad all 4 sanctioned bodies don't have a 10-pound rehydration clause like the IBF because it makes it impossible for fighters who are going up against weight bullies. Wow. This dude from a somewhat credible boxing source is saying that Keyshawn Davis is a weight bully. That's my first time hearing that one. Then it says Cruz is ranked number 1 by the WBC, 3 by the IBF, 3 by the WBA, and number 9 by the WBO. Interestingly, Hearn isn't pushing for WBC lightweight champion Shakur to fight Cruz, but it's understandable. Hearn is trying to line up the Gervonta Davis fight for Shakur, and the last thing he needs is for Andy Cruz to beat him before he makes that fight. All right, let me stop for a second. Andy Cruz, in my opinion, y'all know I'm a big fan of Cruz. Even before he became pros, I was telling everybody I can't wait to see Andy Cruz in the pros. See how I'll be honest. So far, he's been pretty mid, right? For those who don't know what mid means, he's been average. He's been okay. You know, I ain't been wild just yet from Andy Cruz. I'm kind of waiting to see something. And as of right now, I ain't seen nothing. I ain't seen nothing that tells me that he beat a guy like Shakur Stevenson, let alone his former nemesis and Keyshawn Davis. Then Eddie Hearn says this quote, "We want to push Andy Cruz into a big fight. There's been a couple of conversations about a possible fight in Riyadh in Saudi Arabia or a Ring Magazine show. We like to make a Keyshawn Davis fight. Look at the options for Keyshawn. Who else is there for him to fight that's available? That's a great fight as well." Eddie Hearn has also mentioned a fight with Floyd Schofield for Andy Cruz. I think that'd be a good fight. Then it says Floyd Schofield likely wouldn't want to fight Andy Cruz because he got to know that Shakur Stevenson will look his way eventually and throw him a bone. He's not going to want to mess up his chances of a payday against Shakur by fighting Cruz and getting schooled. End quote. Now, this is what this guy from Boxing News 24 had to say. Hilarious article. Salute to those guys over there, man, for kind of speaking their mind, right? They kind of lay it out to you however they see it directly, right? It's not nothing too formal. They saying these dudes are dreaming. They say these dudes are weight bullies. They pretty much, you know. But Eddie Hearn says, who's else for Keyshawn Davis to fight? And I agree. There ain't nobody else really to fight. And if Eddie Hearn is, we know Eddie Hearn is all about the smoke. He'll put his fighters in the ring and all that type of stuff. I don't know if that'd be a good idea right now for Andy Cruz. Andy Cruz gets in there with Keyshawn Davis right now, he loses. I say there's a 90% chance that he loses the fight. This is not the amateurs. This is a totally different ball game. And Keyshawn Davis is about 5 times better than he was as a kid in the amateurs, right? Way better than he was before. Very talented fighter. Keyshawn Davis is checking all the boxes with the charisma, the fighting style, the fan friendliness, everything else. He's checking all the boxes, right? If he puts Andy Cruz in there with Keyshawn Davis right now with 5 fights with 2 KOs, and we seen him in some of his fights, he kind of wobbled. He got wobbled a little bit by one of these guys. Now, mind you, Andy Cruz is fighting guys with a lot much more professional experience than him. But if we go put him in there with Keyshawn right now, I don't think it'll end well for Andy Cruz. I could be wrong, right? He still could have that mental edge over Keyshawn Davis based off what happened to Keyshawn in the amateurs when he squared off against Andy Cruz. However, I don't think that'll be the case once that bell rings, if that bell rings. I think it might be a little too soon for this fight, but as we know, Eddie Hearn is ready to push his guys, and when he's ready to push them, he's going to do some pushing. Is Andy Cruz ready for Keyshawn, the businessman Davis, right now? Tell me what you guys think. Like, subscribe, holler at your boy. Peace out.